Guys, welcome to Marfoogle TV. We're about to get right into it right now. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. We're going to talk about the U.S. raids take out senior ISIS leader in northern Syria. It's 2025. A former emissary of the Islamic State's top leadership is now president of Syria, who happens to also be the founder of Al-Qaeda in Syria, the Al-Nusra Front, since rebranded for ruling Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. And the United States is still claiming that its occupying forces are busy fighting ISIS across various parts of the country. U.S. Central Command on Friday said a raid in Aleppo region took out senior ISIS leader Daya Zawa Masih al-Ardani and his two adult ISIS-affiliated sons, Abdullah and Adib. They said that it happened in the early mornings of Al-Bab, and as the ISIS individuals were described as posing a threat to, quote, the U.S. and coalition forces, as well as the new Syrian government. You got to throw in that it's a threat to the U.S., so we, don't question why we're spending all these crazy tax dollars doing it, right? The announcement also mentioned the presence of civilians at the location of the raid. The statement indicated that 3 women and 3 children were also on the target and were unharmed. It says, quote, "We will continue to relentlessly pursue ISIS terrorists wherever they operate. Terrorists are not safe where they sleep, where they operate, or where they hide. Alongside their partners and allies, U.S. Central Command are committed to enduring defeat of the ISIS terrorists." So it's crazy that, this is still around. Many people have their doubts about what is actually going on over there. Of course, it's crazy that in just Syria in general, they did this takeover. Bashar al-Assad got put out. And everybody knows this is some sort of government-funded operation. Which governments? We don't know. We've all debated about that. But I really think that, there's puppets being installed in multiple countries around here, and it has a bigger picture that is right next to it, which is World War III, Russia taking, all of these kind of border countries and trying to, essentially move them around. We're going to talk about this and much, much more. There is so much to go over. Is there a drill going on right now that is actually practice for a massive world war next year? We'll talk about that here in 2 seconds. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough.
Watch the blackbird fly, watch the blackbird fly, watch the blackbird fly. Just fly right by, fly right by, fly right by, 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 by. Just fly right by. Watch the blackbird fly.
All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer says, did you hear about the Russia giving ICBMs to North Korea? Oh my gosh, can you say danger? Well, North Korea, actually, there's a lot going on with North Korea, but they're actually building, I think, their 3rd destroyer. It's nuts to see North Korea, potentially in the next 10 years, we could see them have an actual formidable Navy or Air Force, something like that, because they're working with Russia and China. Again, crazy, crazy, crazy. And then thank you to everybody that has already made it in. Bone Score, thank you. Bon Secor. I think I'm saying your name wrong every time. Hi, Adam. There's some gas money for the moving truck. Well, thank you. Thank you. It is not been fun. And then Chance Paladin, thank you for being here and modding. Bobby Sue, thank you for modding. Of course, thank you, Ilea, if you are in here. And then Shirley Millward, thank you. We saw Rip Curl the other day too. I know he's been popping in lately, so thank you. Sign Digger, Shirley, and everybody else. Let's get back into the news, and let's do that with my co-host / internet brother, Dix James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Fugle fam. I'm doing just fine.
Just in case you missed the, what do they say, cleaning house, or what do they say when you're making an announcement? Anyways, I am so fried this week. I'm a one-man moving army, and with the help of dollies, with carts and other things, I've been able to move like some of the big stuff that I've never moved before with one person. I've already thrown my back out once. Almost got to that point where if you turn the wrong way a second time, it was bad. Young people are like, well, who cares about the stupid 40-year-old problems? I'm telling you, everybody here has gone through this in some point. But I will say this. It is getting done, and I'm very excited to announce that when we are at the new place, it's like a little mother-in-law shack. It's literally just big enough for everything that we have here. So my studio will be out from the kids. You won't hear the thumping. We're going to fix problems that have been a problem for a long time. Like right here, the desk-mounted mic. You can hear the mouse, things like that. All of those things are being addressed. Right now, you can hear my 4-year-old just running back and forth, or 5-year-old now. You guys have been here when I've had all these kids. Most of you have been here at least for the birth of them, right? So you've been here for a really long time, and you've had to deal with these little problems and with the late schedule and this and that. And we've been in this house for almost 6 years, I think. And it was the first house we've lived in. We don't own it. We rent it. And they said, hey, we're selling it on you. So it was really crappy last minute. But coming closer to the end of this and to the start of something new, I mean, this is going to mean a whole lot. There was a lot of things that made the show not possible because the kids were right above, or that this was happening, or there was a kid's birthday party or something like that. So the timing is going to get better. I know we've said that, and I've said that with intention because we have kids here, and the kids just make it this unknown. So I put it on everything. We are going to have a better schedule, and I have taken a lot of your input over the years. We've asked you what time spots you like, so we're going to do a really good job, and I really appreciate everybody that has stuck with me through thick and thin, through everything. And I'm sure I probably lost 5 people if they were new. They didn't last halfway through that. But those of you that have, and that have lasted 5 years, thank you. And you are appreciated. I really, really do feel blessed to know people like you guys. So thank you. All right, Dex, let's go into this next piece. Finish the job, the president says.
Yeah, he signaled on Friday after the breakdown in negotiations, which we spoke about yesterday for the ceasefire in Gaza, over the hostage deals, that he believes the prime minister should just escalate the war to get rid of, quote, in quotes, Hamas. So, this is coming at the time when the humanitarian crisis is, at its all-time high. They are talking about numerous people starving and perishing from that, as well as they even said aid workers were starving. That's how bad it is. They're having a hard time even getting food, and they're trying to work. Although I did hear that they were going to allow humanitarian airdrops, which will be good. But yeah, this is the point from our president. He's just, hey, he should just go in and finish it, clean house, and get it over with, and get the hostages out. So don't expect any more peace in the Middle East right now. I expect that this will, sort of be the certain, green light for Netanyahu to just roll right back in hardcore into the Strip.
Yeah, and I mean, this is obvious. Through all of the back and forth and we want peace, all of a sudden, because of all the distraction that's going on, if we had no news in the news cycle, if there was nothing going on with the EpiPen stuff, I guarantee you this would have been a giant deal. I mean, heck, if the news cycle was empty enough, they would be having protests right now over this. But do you see how all of this other stuff is going on? Heck, now a professor at Harvard is saying an alien is coming. That there's no real big deal about this. But this is a big deal because this is, escalation over there. The countries that support that side, they are obviously going to see this as a huge, huge escalation or re-escalation, I guess. But it's a big deal. Now, I just want to make a comment because I've gone through this. I lost half of this tooth and the nerve was exposed like that. Seeking Truth says, I'm not laughing because I fractured it and the nerve is exposed. All I have is ibuprofen. Again, that little stuff that you get for braces. First of all, spit in a cup. Spit. Actually put your spit and put the broken part if you have it because it will preserve it. And you have to get to an emergency dentist quick. And you can actually get it put in and it will be okay. But if you don't have it, if you are just trying to cover the nerve, I've had that 3 times. And in different fights and stuff, I chipped a tooth and I had the nerve exposed. Get that stuff that they give people with braces to cover it so it doesn't cut your lips. It's like a thing. And it's made for your mouth. And you can put that on the tooth until you can get it fixed. Or somebody else said guar gum or something. But yeah, definitely cover it because it is going to be a pain in the butt. And then thank you, Rochelle Cooley. Thank you for the 5 gifted badges to other Foogle family members. We have Wally. Thank you for gifting out 5 badges. Thank you both. Thank you for essentially gifting to other folks in the chat. And then we have Wally again says, please hit the thumbs up. Hey, thank you, Wally. And thank you again from everybody that's been supporting, especially you Canadians up there dealing with your own problems. All right, Dex, I did want you to go over this one as well. Russia is moving the jamming systems.
Well, this is obviously not an effort to give them any upper edge in the Ukraine war because this is in Estonia. So on the borders of Estonia, Russia is now moving more of its jamming equipment. The Estonian officials said they have bolstered the electronic warfare systems next to their border. So they brought in additional signal jamming equipment to the area near Kingsepp, a town about 20 kilometers from the Estonian frontier. The Russian Defense Ministry did not immediately respond to a request for comment, but such equipment has been used on the battlefield in Ukraine to disrupt the drones, navigational systems. The electronic warfare has also caused severe GPS outages, which is used by the commercial planes. So we can expect to hear more of that. We absolutely heard a lot, even in Poland, which is right near Ukraine when the jammings were happening there, that they were having lots of issues with GPS outages on commercial flights. So Estonia seeing this coming up onto their border is definitely a sign, in my opinion, of preparation for conflict with Europe from Russia's point of view. And it's absolutely, you're going to start to hear more about this as far as how it may affect everything around Estonia or into the Black Sea there from a jamming perspective.
Hey, yeah, because I'm going to address a couple things there, but this is really serious as far as, because you can see the patterns. In my belief, because, everybody can say, well, I think this is going to happen. I believe that this is going to happen, that you're going to have Russia go to war with NATO, regardless of the intentions of Russia or if they wanted to or not. There's somebody else that's above all of these countries pushing what we believe is going to happen. Our gut thinks that Russia's going to go to war with NATO. You're going to have U.S., Japan, Australia, going to war in the Pacific with China. China's with Taiwan and Japan and everybody else. And then you're going to have all of these small outliers. They are all ready and set to try to take their neighbor, to try to get resources all at the same time. And they're all working together to get their combined goals done. And one of their goals is to take the U.S. off of that top spot. I hope that never happens. I hope that we don't ever get taken off that top spot. But I know that, there is a war coming, and it's sooner than later. But I did want to say something. Somebody said, Marf, you a Street Fighter on the low? No, I was, like many's, a dumb teenager into my early 20s. I drank a lot. I made a lot of stupid mistakes. Like, one mistake would be like, talk trash to the guy who is literally named Tank, that's the bouncer at the bar, that is 6'5" and 350 pounds. That's how you wake up in an alley with a hangover and half a missing tooth. And that time you don't have the other half. So yeah, no, but I did fight when I was a kid. Yeah. Believe it or not, I did a lot of fighting, and I was so stupid, and I came from a broken home and a dysfunctional family and an alcoholic family, and I'm sure many of you know that same story time and time again. I don't fight anymore, and I tell my kids that it's not the right way. unless they learn how to do it properly, like karate, my daughter, and jujitsu. All right. And then before we move on, make sure to go check out EMP Shield if you haven't already. I know I've said it a million times, it's like a robot. I really do believe people should have this on your vehicles at least, so that way you can get out. This is going to literally save you and get you to, point A to point B. Not only that, it can also have everything in your house, all of those devices that you may have bought, all these generators. You have a solar generator, you have a gas generator. Well, none of those are going to be any good if they get fried. So you protect the generators, you protect the house, then every appliance is going to be protected. Every electronic is going to be protected that's plugged into your house. Your car is going to run, all of these things. And people go, well, the grid, what if the grid doesn't come back on? Well, that's why over the last 6 years that we've given you warning for this huge event, you have saved up and you've gotten a solar generator with panels that you can get unlimited power for 10 years. You have a gas generator that you've probably stored up some fuel for. And if it went, dystopian movie style, you'd go be able to scavenge for it. But none of that would be good without protecting it. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP and make sure to use the code MARF. Again, it's used by agencies like DHS, U.S. Air Force, FBI, and many more. None that my fried brain can even think about. marfooglenews.com/EMP and make sure to use the code MARF. All right, and then thank you, Drops Homestead. I appreciate that. Thank you for gifting out 5 more badges to Fugel family members. The chat is getting rewarded tonight, so that's awesome. Dex, let's talk about the Russian Pacific Fleet launching huge July storm drills. And
So they kicked off a series of major naval drills Thursday, which are aimed at improving and evaluating its ability to defend key maritime infrastructures, as according to Interfax. It's dubbed the July Storm. The drills are quite large as they feature more than 150 naval and support vessels, 120 aircraft, and 10 coastal missile systems, nearly 1,000 pieces of military equipment, and over 15,000 personnel from all 4 of Russia's main fleets. The exercises cover multiple zones, including the Pacific, the Arctic, the Baltic, and the Caspian Seas, and are planned to run through July 27th. So these are short. They only last like 3 days, but they're fairly big. Russian naval statement further described the drills as more broadly designed to boost combat preparedness for unconventional scenarios. Similar scenarios have actually played out in Western Russia in the context of the Ukraine war. So, for example, off the far eastern city of Vladivostok, naval patrol boats practiced how to respond to simulated attacks by unmanned surface craft and aerial drones. Remember, they lost quite a few ships to those unmanned boat drones, or Ski-Doos, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. The personal watercraft turned into a drone, right? So in another scenario, mock enemy drones targeted the Rusky Bridge in the same city, with the longest cable-stayed suspension bridge in the world, having a total length of 10,200 feet. The first day of the drill saw a defensive response from an Mi-8 and a Ka-27PS helicopters carrying anti-terror units during the mock bridge attack. So this is the drills they're running right now in preparation for the coming war with Europe and the rest of the world.
So look, if this is anything like, you remember they did the 160,000 troop drill at the border of Ukraine. They set up things. They set up even mobile hospitals and artillery and all of these things. Well, right as the world said, hey, why do you have so many troops right there? They said, no, psych, it's just a drill. Almost exactly, I think it was a year and a day after that, they came back and did the real thing. If you look at what China has done, China and Russia have been coordinating on certain things, also with Iran and other countries. They've been doing these very, very, very large drills. They're calling this July Storm. It makes me wonder that next July, that this won't be part of a much bigger thing that they're drilling for that we don't know about, but they're actually drilling just their part of a bigger campaign that would actually also involve China, Iran, Nicaragua, Cuba, all possibly Mexico, South Africa, parts of, places like that. That is what I believe, and North Korea, of course. That is what I believe any one of these could be. And I think that timeline, July in that area, summer next year, that would be right in that hot spot of where most people think we will be either in the beginning or already started the Chinese War. And I wonder what they'll call it, the Great Chinese War, or the Great War again. We could call it the Great War times 10, something. We could just keep going and keep rhyming it. But yeah, what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments below if you're like, no, idiot, it's not going to happen like that. It's going to happen like this. Look at my diagram I drew on the napkin. Show me the napkin. I will look at your napkin and I will totally not judge your napkin. And I will say, hey, that is a really nice napkin. Yeah, it actually has some frill. I would use it as a doily kind of napkin. Now I believe your napkin is better than my napkin. As long as everybody's now that you're awake, if we're good on the analogy with the napkin, I will move on. Thank you very much. And then Chinese drone engines labeled as cooling units sent to Russia via covert supply chain. I knew this was happening. I talked to a Fugle family member that their brother and their uncle was actually currently serving, and they were talking about how, because they were arguing with me, they actually proved me wrong, how much they are actually sending between China and North Korea and Russia. And I said it was a lot, and said the amount on the 1 year, it was the quotes from last year. And he said, no, it's actually a lot more than that. They have a covert supply chain. And then proceeded to tell me about this supply chain. Again, there is all sorts of crazy stuff getting shipped around right now that nobody even knows about. Western intelligence analysts, through forensic support, supply chain tracking, have confirmed to Reuters that Russian defense firm EMZ has successfully bypassed EU and US sanctions through a network of mysterious front companies established with a funnel dual-use drone components from China into Russia. Isn't that funny? China is having a huge part in this. China is helping the Russian war. They are directly involved in almost every country that we know about, including, North Korea. That absolutely has been infiltrated by China. And they are puppeteering things almost like the U.S. has for years. And what's crazy is we only think about the U.S. manipulating and regime changing, and you'll think about Europe and the U.S., but the U.S. is always involved. Europe isn't doing, NATO or NATO countries by themselves are not doing the regime changes we do. Only people think about is the U.S. Now China is doing it. And that's the most disturbing part about now we're in 2025 is we have a secondary country that is changing the world with their power, with their covert actions, with their infiltration, with their spying, with their stealing, and people don't even know about it. Dex, they labeled them as cooling units. Something like this, it's like, there's of course smuggling and things like going on. The cartel would do the same thing. The scary part about this is war related. They're sending in, dangerous weapons. Think about how they could do that in any country.
Yeah, this adds to the fact that everyone has, China has sort of been trying to play a position of sitting on the sidelines, outside of words and outside of supporting Russia, but not directly trying to be seen as providing weaponry or any type of things for the war. But we've heard, Kiev say over and over again, and Zelensky, China's absolutely helping Russia, helping them. Keep saying it. So this helps add to that and prove to that this, covert supply chain, whether it's as simple as, buying oil so that they get money, or, as very much part of a weaponry, like these engines that go into the drones that are attacking Ukraine. Well, if they're supplying them, that's a big deal. And that definitely puts China in a different position. And it's one that we've all known, but it's sort of just adding to the layers of proof to show, hey, China is actually engaged in this as much as Russia is, in the sense that they're funding, fueling, providing equipment. And who knows, maybe at some point we'll see people, just like you see North Koreans going over and helping Russia. Will the day come where we see, people from China, a military, going in and helping Russia? I'm sure they will, the day that escalates into a complete European front with Russia. They're going to need a lot of people.
Jeffrey Woolidge says China has a 2-watt laser new in some satellites. Yeah, well, both Russia and China have worked towards the same goal. And it's almost like Russia's done kind of the things that China wants it to because they've worked out some sort of deal. Russia's a very powerful country. They hold their own. But one thing they don't have that China does is that GDP. So with help from China, think about how powerful Russia could be, especially if that GDP went through the roof. What if it's secretly going through the roof? That's a very scary point, especially if they have a common goal to get to. It's crazy to me that New York has a higher GDP than all of Russia. I am correct when I say that, right? New York had like a $9 trillion GDP, or $9 trillion out of our whole GDP was from New York.
Yeah, they're pretty much on par with each other, but probably New York's bigger.
That's crazy. But the thing is they, if their GDP is $2 trillion, they're spending $1 trillion of it on military, which I don't even see how they have roads. Like, oh wait, that's because we have a huge budget, huge all this, but we are just wasting money and putting it into painting every leaf of a 80-foot tree, rainbow colors or something. That's where our money goes, but who knows? And then we have single U.S. water utility receives 6 million China-based connection attempts in a week. So this is something that, you can have everybody saying one thing one way and saying, don't get scared by that. Never be scared. But you need to have a plan. There is a clear message that our infrastructure and our power and our grid is in threat right now. Our grid is the foundation of everything. You really got to go with that. In any military operation, you are going to try to turn off the power and stop communications. And by the way, Russia moving that jamming technology, not towards Ukraine, but towards Estonia, that should tell you right there, they're moving equipment there that's part of day one stuff. That's part of they're invading Estonia kind of stuff. Well, if you want to cause chaos in a country, you take down their grid, you take down their supplies. When you start running out of supplies, then another chaos comes. All of the people nothing's going to happen, it's going to be a nothing burger, that have less than 3 days of food in the fridge, they're all of a sudden going to freak out. And a lot of them here in the U.S., just by the numbers, we know a lot of them have weapons. Then they use those weapons to go get their neighbors' food, the people that did prepare. So that's why everybody in the prepping community has been you just got to think of the unlikely and then prepare for that and do it in a timely manner. If you wait until the end of the week, if you were in a college class and you had 8 pieces of homework, if you wait until the night before, it's going to suck. But if you did those all the night that you got home, it wouldn't be. My point is that people had time. We've been warning about this for a long time. And all those nothing burger people are going to literally screw us over because they're going after infrastructure, water, the food, supply chain. All of this will get hit. And if you don't believe me, go look at the SolarWinds hack, or look at what they're looking into. SolarWinds, they broke into Black Start, our plan to turn the grid back on. There's so many instances of this. They broke into water supplies. They're going into HR departments of different water supply places. That happened a few years ago. Think about that. The same department that would make a key card to be able to get into a secret area. The same department that would be able to basically insert a transferred employee and have them over there and set some sort of backdoor or some radio that releases a component. These are all kind of things that could happen, and China is good at this. People can say, oh, if they built it, it's going to fall apart. Well, what if they don't have to build anything? What if they don't have to have the largest army? If they cause enough chaos and enough problems here, then we will have our hands full with that, and they will be able to take Taiwan or somewhere else. It very well could be that we need the military here to stop an all-out, just absolute crazy, crazy thing. I have heard from friends, Dex, I was told by an older vet, a good friend of mine, he said he doesn't think it's going to be that bad, even if all the lights go off because of the systems they've set up with martial law. He said what he's worried about is, tyrannical people running the martial law. What do you think about that, Dex? Even if we don't have power, all of that, that they have a contingency plan to essentially every town will have to kind of make their thing and
Yeah, you better
lock
love the
people down.
leaders in your town. You better love the people around you that are going to be in charge. But
That's what I said.
Yeah, or you better be the one in charge. This depends on how the rank and file works. But that's not necessarily an environment that, it's not like the Constitution and everything sort of just is there and everybody's there to support it. When it's martial law, I think it's a much different. When it's that type of scenario, it's probably a lot closer to what you see on the movies and TV than you want to believe. But look, here's the other thing to think about with this infrastructure. Like, a lot of people could just roll their eyes and be like, oh, okay, so some water supply place in California was getting hacked by China. Well, no, let's look at it specifically. It's a small water facility. It supports 40,000 residents, 1,000 businesses, and has about 2 million annual visitors into that Orange County area per year. Not very big water, SCWD, not a very big water company in that area. It had 6 million. It actually, in 1 week, it had 5 million basically the week before. Basically overnight, it went to 6 million. So imagine that one water facility is getting hammered by the cyber infrastructure of China just to penetrate and try to get into it. That is happening on every single water system across America. They are all getting hit a million ways to Sunday by these systems to try to find any potential vulnerability that they can break in and crack in. And again, you might think, okay, so yeah, they're hitting across all that infrastructure and they're hitting every one of these water supply systems. Again, these are smaller systems. Do you think that they necessarily have the most hardened, strengthened cybersecurity at a smaller water station? Whereas, a large, say, nuclear facility would probably have a lot more security on their cyber defense systems. So, there's probably a handful of passwords that are still default passwords on routers and things like that at these other places. So this is a very, very concerning issue when you look at it and you think about what they're doing. And Adam, real quick, I know this isn't about just breaking in right this second and taking down the water supply. It's about breaking in and planting control systems in so that they can have access to it when they're ready to pull the trigger across all of them.
Yeah, leaving something there for later. That's what I believe solar winds, all of these different things are, because they're in this they've been in the long game for a long time. And when you're watching a long game, you can see the move. If you're watching certain games, maybe you could do it with chess. If you saw them move a certain first pawn, an expert might be able to go, oh, I see where he's going to go with that 16 moves down the road. He's starting with that because he's going to go up and push this way. Same thing with this. You saw things 5, 6, 7 years ago that you go, that only is something you would do if you're going to do this later. We see tons of those. People are doubting themselves so much, and then some people are just like, you can't call it pathological. My brain usually has at least a okay vocabulary. Dex, what would be a good word to say? Essentially, they're brain fart. Complete and utter brain fart. It just broke down. The brain just stopped working. The show is over. We are done for the day. Just kidding. Dex, you could probably just finish my sandwich at this point. Sentence. I think that...
I could try, but it's probably like bologna at the moment.
Just keep... What?
No, bologna sandwich.
I know. That's disgusting.
Yeah. I know. I don't know where you're going with it, so I can't predict it. But look, it's a big deal. It's a big deal that even this tiny little story should be eye-opening to everyone.
Oh! No, keep it going.
Hit it. Go for it.
No, it's okay.
No.
I just did the excited thing to make you think I remembered. We've done this too when we're talking off camera, because we've had hours long just freaking laughing and conversation about stupid stuff. I'll forget whatever and then come back later and still forget. I think that the point of this with solar winds, with all of that, that's where I was going with it. They have accessed all of these things not to shut down this little, that's what I remembered. Not only the sheriff's department, when it was something you said that the water place might have a default thing on the router. Our friends were able to basically get into a sheriff thing. And this is friends that I have that were doing it just for fun. And they told this sheriff's department afterwards, they told this other place. They essentially tried getting into their work thing. The password was 1111 on all of their stuff in all of their computers. Everything. All of the Wi-Fi, everything was 1111. And it was uniform across the board so that all of the employees didn't have to remember. The average age at that sheriff's department of everybody that was working in that office building was 72. So you have places like that. You have places that are actually in control of really important stuff where there's some people that worked a few years past. And that is pretty much how everybody's going to work nowadays, especially when nobody can save money to buy a house anymore. People are going to be working at Walmart when they're 85. I don't judge that. I personally want to work at Walmart. I mean, to get a 1% discount, today, that means that's like 0.9999% better than you should get, right? Because discounts are awesome. But as far as this goes, we know this. Our whole community's been warning you for years. And just like CV, when there's all these signs, when you know that they're planning for something, they're basically drilling it and simulating it in every way. This is something that's been simulated and drilled a million times. Our water supply going down, something happening. And they'll warn us about this later. Watch. The reason why that report comes out in 6 million in 1 week at a small place, that's a tiny sample. You take a test of all of them, and if you're getting that at that, you're getting a whole lot more everywhere else. All right, and then let's go to the next piece, which is Iran Telecom's satellite Nahid-2 goes into space on a Russian launcher. So that's kind of odd, too. They just launched something, like last week, and now they're launching
it was a test. They did a test of suborbital last week, and that was supposed to be for, satellite launching. But we all believe it's for ICBM technology. Now, this time they actually...
What if it failed?
Leveraged Russia. They said, hey, Russia launched this thing for us. And, out of, that Cosmodrome, Vostochny Cosmodrome, I guess Russia launched this for them.
Well, don't you find the timing a little weird? What if they tried to launch their own some sort of weapon? It didn't work, so now they're asking Russia to launch and release it. This could be an EMP weapon that they're having piggyback on this. And I'm not saying that tomorrow would be the EMP. It can go into orbit and then they probably might already have one, right? Or it could be a new weapon that they just got from China or that they're all working on together. Communications or surveillance, whatever it may be. The timing, Iran is purely focused on Israel and on, defense. I don't think they're too, spending thousands and thousands of dollars right now when they're literally mass producing missiles and ballistic missiles to destroy a chunk of the earth. I just don't see them releasing this for scientific research. I think that they're doing this. They're releasing a potential weapon or potential surveillance. It's weird timing. Dex, do you think that could even be a thing? That with the rocket that they launched the other day, what if it blew up in space or just it didn't work? And now a couple days later they go, "Hey Russia, it didn't work on us. Can we just piggyback on yours and release it?"
Well, if they had redundant products to put up there, whatever it is they're trying to launch, if they had a backup of it and wanted to launch it and then ran it up to Russia. But this is obviously something that had been planned. It's not like they went up overnight with this, but at the same time, anytime
how do we
Russia,
know that?
China, Iran, anytime any of them launch anything into orbit, we have to pay attention. I know our military does. Space Force will monitor every bit of that launch and every movement that it makes afterwards to see if it corresponds with what they say, because they say it's a communication satellite. So when it gets released into the wild, so to speak, into orbit, it better act like a communication satellite, because if it starts having any movement that looks different, you're going to see all sorts of alarm bells going off with Space Force. And obviously they're looking for nukes. They're looking for EMPs.
Okay, so conceived, talked about, everything. 3 different on Grok, on Google, ChatGPT, AI overview. Nothing says that Nahid was talked about, announced, anything before July 25th, 2025, today. So that's the thing. We don't know. We don't have like a schedule. It's like, with us, people know in Florida there's going to be a launch in 2.5 months or whatever. That's put there. So, and also even then, we've talked about this, Dex. You agree with me on this? So say if it's a yearly drill, nobody gets alarmed. They're like, oh, but dude, that drill is every year. Well, the military can essentially change the purpose of a drill in a heartbeat. They did this whole B-2 bombing thing, making it look like a drill so nobody would look, and nobody did look. Even people that were tweeting B-2s going over them where they were taking off in Missouri, nobody even batted an eye. They tweeted, hey, these went over me, and everybody's like, oh, that's cool. But nobody else actually knew what was going on. With the drill, they can replace the drill. So say on July 25th, there's always this drill every single year. On the 20th, they find out this drill is coming. People, oh, well, that could be the real thing. No, it happens every year. Well, the military can switch that and use that as it. So that even if it's a launch, what my point is there's a launch here and they go, oh, but this is a long planned launch. This is, how do we know? They could, instead of putting the research thing on there, which they're not even saying this is, they could then put a weapon there and just rotate it into the already, scheduled thing. So I want to make that point because it makes sense in a lot of the news. You always have to question. Don't just think that because this was scheduled 3 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, 2 years ago, that they haven't just fit in what they wanted and replaced it. So the same with drills. Any drill could turn into the real thing, as we saw with that B-2 thing just a couple weeks ago. That's a perfect example of it. All right, and then
they need 3 days minimum to prep a Soyuz rocket to launch something unprepared that's not crewed. If it's crewed, it's 7 days. If it's so they would need 3 days.
Yeah, but they would need Iran to call them privately and say, hey, can you get a Soyuz ready?
Right, and they'd have to have a Soyuz ready, sitting on the sidelines ready to go, like not one that's being used for something else or in development or.
Yeah, but they don't have to tell the public that, and I don't know if Russia even
does. Yeah, they don't have to say anything.
Yeah,
no, they could have been planning this for a year and not told anybody a single thing, and I wouldn't expect Iran to. Iran doesn't tell anybody anything, but when they do a launch, they have to announce it. They don't have to. But Russia wouldn't do a launch.
They have to tell the U.S. and everybody else.
The U.S. doesn't do it because the U.S. is not going to launch something without announcing it too, because they don't want the rest of the world to, question, is it an ICBM? What kind of launch is it? They always pre-announce anything that's orbital. They're supposed to announce. Mm-hmm. It's rare that somebody would launch orbital and not, even if it's BS, not at least give a statement as to what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. So I just wonder as And then if you have 15 launches a year, you just take any one of those launches and you work with your ally and you say, hey, I'm going to load this mutated cow onto your launch pad. And they're like, why are you launching a cow? Oh, because the mutated cow mom is in space. Like, duh. Stupid. Anyways, make sure to go check out Energy if you haven't already. Of course, this is one of my favorite brands. And the crappy part is they've had an indefinite pause on selling these to consumers on the Flex 1500s. The Flex Tactical, though, the newest one that came out, before they put that big pause on, they have a small batch of. So this batch, once it's gone, it's gone. They are not doing a bunch of huge advertising. It's us and a few others that even affiliate for them anymore because they don't have affiliates. So there's no affiliating anymore because they're not selling anything. If you go to their website, if you go to Flex or anything else, they're saying, we're not selling these. They won't sell you one if you wanted one. This Tactical, though, they have it. And this Tactical is one of the best recommendations we have. Now, we have a different recommendation for higher capacity, like if you want higher capacity, like running power. But as far as a good-to-go solar generator that you can get power for most of the things you're going to do if you just want to get by, this is it. It's reinforced steel housing. It, of course, has the latches, so you can just quickly click and take 1 battery, 2, 5 batteries. This is my favorite recommendation. The build quality is unlike any other. Like, people were talking about they're getting these Amazon, and I'm calling them Amazon. They have names, Amazon solar generators. Go look at the name, or go look at it and take a picture of it. See if there's not 5 exactly the same ones, manufactured exactly the same brands that have that, and just put a sticker of whatever their brand is, right? Now, that's okay if you are picking a good brand, but they're picking a Chinese-made, Chinese front-loaded solar generator that could be turned off remotely, that has proprietary software with Wi-Fi access, and you're buying a freaking thing thinking, oh, it's cool that I can, power my Wi-Fi thing, or power my solar generator with my phone. Don't. That's the thing. This is not going to do that. They just won the SBIR Phase 2 contract. Make sure to go get this. Like we said, over the last 7 years you followed our advice, you look at the price of these are investments, because it is power. It is power. If the power never comes back on, this teamed up with panels, you have electricity, possibly for 20 years. So this thing is an investment. Save up for it. If you don't have money for it, take $5 a week and put it aside for a whole lot of weeks. Again, go to marfooglenews.com/energy and make sure to use the code Marfoogle. I've talked to a lot of people that have said, oh, I can't ever save up that kind of money. I would say, if somebody told you a date and a time when the world was going to go into World War III, I bet you could. And we haven't given you the date and time, but you can just trust your gut on this one. I think it's coming, and the first thing they're going to do is turn off the power. marfooglenews.com/energy, and remember, after that is gone, it's gone. They have built-in heaters and weather resistant. So this is really fascinating. Harvard professor suggested, of course, 3i Atlas might be alien tech. Not only that, has suggested that it might actually park behind the sun and do a what is it called, the retro Osberth. Let me read it here.
Basically, it's going to make a crazy maneuver. It can make a crazy maneuver when we can't see it, using the gravitational pull of the sun to change its trajectory. And, kind of like you talk in the movie.
Solar Oberth.
Yeah. So it would make a covert maneuver if it was going to pause here or come here. That would be the location to do it, which is out of our sight. We can't see it.
Now, people have laughed this off. The more and more, he always gets coverage now. He never got coverage before that. So you also have to have the question, is this guy doing it because he gets coverage? Like, is this guy saying these things now that he made his first fame? Because he and another gentleman, who I believe is quoted a lot too, these were Harvard professors that are coming out and saying, hey, I believe Oumuamua might be an alien, or it might be an alien craft. It was a cigar shape. It changed speeds. It did this weird thing, that it might not be natural. It's interstellar. It's not from here. So he could be, he could make claims about any interstellar object or anything out in space. And at this point, people are paying attention. They're like, oh, it's the same Harvard guy that did that. But for some reason, I do believe this. And I don't believe it like this is, something I'm going to die on a hill on. I understand people have different viewpoints about what's outside our air or our planet. And I think that everybody has a valid view. Whatever your opinion is, that's your opinion. Mine is that this is possibly some sort of real alien tech. As far as blue beam and a distraction, I think that part of it is the made up thing by CIA. And anytime that there is something real, they can just go, oh yeah, so they can do their fake blue beam thing, and then people laugh it off. I think they add a crazy part to almost anything, and then most regular people will say, oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's conspiratorial. Most everybody believes either in angels or in aliens in some way. They believe it's either God that is providing these things, or if it is angels or aliens. I've seen a lot of stuff about angels lately, by the way. The last week, Twitter was full of weird videos in the sky, weird phenomena. Scientists were saying that there was these glowing clouds. One was a shocking power line. The thing is, we can't believe anything right now with AI. So unless aliens come down and land and pop out of their spaceship and say hello, even then we're going to be like, is this a projection? You know, is this a projection of an AI video? We don't know, because they've even done that. They freaking put up a net in Las Vegas and put the moon up in the sky, or a fake planet, and nobody could tell the difference. So at this point right now,
maybe that's what the dome's for, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, built no, the Golden Dome. Get it built for the alien invasion, not Russia.
Oh no, I wasn't even thinking that. Yeah. So what if the Golden Dome is actually that? What if the grid around the planet, the grid that not only we're making but China is making, what if they're secretly working together to try to stop it? And then the comet, or the asteroid that they said had a 1.9% chance of hitting, then it had 2.8, then 3.1, and then 3.6 or whatever. That they're talking about again, and they say that now they think it might hit the moon. I said this years ago. This guy that said that the moon was in danger. I was one of the first people to cover that. That he said the government's not worried about us. We're not going to get hit by the next asteroid. It's going to come from the dark area and it's going to hit the moon. And then now that's 5 years later. That's what's happening. Solar debris cleanup. Remember how we talked about this? A Fugel family member who dealt with she was like basically a finance person that dealt and
finance auditor.
Yep, audited the purchases and the things. She said that stuff went across her desk that was so much money you would not believe. We're talking billions and billions and billions of dollars for, what was it, debris cleanup? But it was debris cleanup for a Class 2 gas giant and some sort of impact or collision or something like that. We said that, and now that would be like something hitting massive debris, space debris coming in and cleanup, and money to go towards programs to essentially work around it or to prepare for it. Look at what's happening now. I don't know. I just find it weird that now they're saying that. And that's the official narrative. The official narrative could be true, and they could have hit it from us until last minute, and then all of a sudden nobody's prepared. They could have spent 20 years trying to get to Mars because they're worried about what the planet's going to look like without a moon. Things like that. Maybe Elon's not such a good guy and he wants to save civilization. Maybe he just wants to save him and his rich buddies. We don't know. But yeah, very interesting stuff. Says they have said Apophis will be able to be seen with your home telescope in 2025. Has anybody seen it yet? Are you sure not 2029? Either way, Apophis, Osiris Rex, Osiris Apex. You have, of course, Hayabusa 2. All of these missions where they're going out. DART, the double asteroid redirection test. All of these things. Hammer, hypervelocity and mitigation emergency response vehicle. They're making, it seems like they're trying to protect the planet from something that they won't tell us about. But just a side theory of mine. All right. And then thank you so much to Wally. Thank you, Rochelle Cooley. Thank you, Bon Secours. Why do I feel like I'm saying that wrong? Dex, how would you say Bon Secours? Do you see that? I've said it wrong every time, I think, for like 2 years.
I'm having to look it up.
Bonse. Bonds Corps? Man, everybody
Bonzi Corps? I don't know.
Make hyphens in your name. Like Google does for pronunciation. And just do it for me. Like, I need you to go do all of the work it takes to change it for our chat, okay? Thank you. It's not a big ask. It probably is. Don't actually try it. All right. Thank you to the mods. Thank you for everybody that's patient with my constant pausing, and I probably said again my filler word 30 times today. So thank you. I appreciate everybody that is here with us, and thank you to the support of everybody that's sharing us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Drop, thank you. Stephen McMahon, thank you. I think that there's like a 3-way tie here. Everybody that gifted 5 memberships. Wally's number 1, I believe. Thank you so much. Yes, and then Rochelle Cooley and others. Join us over on Jams. Thank you, Dex. I appreciate your service, everything you've done.
Looks like Steven just came in with a new comment, too. You see that?
Oh, let me see. And Stephen McMahon, thank you. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe and alive. Bon secours means good help. Great. So how do you say it? Bon secours? Bon secours. Bon suckers? Wait, I'm not swearing, am I? You guys are clever about that. Thanks, Steven, says Bobby Sue, Annie Oakley, Wiz Jen, Shirley Millward. And I don't know if any of you were watching the show when somebody got me pretty bad, but I've only been got once by funny names that you go, you know, Mike and then whatever, you know, you guys know.
Like, you say it now that's all they're going to do. You just threw down the challenge.
Well, it's at the end of the show, so if it's a challenge that only the most hardcore Foogle family will take, they're good people. If I tell them to stop the next day, they'll do it.
Exactly. Hey, much love. Great job, brother.
I love our freaking people here. And some of them have changed their names. Like, you guys, how many of you been with us for more than 5 years? Let us know in the chat below. Comment. How many years do you think you've been with us in the comments down below? I think it would be really fascinating to see, and it will help us on the comments point. So how many years have you been with us? Try to really think. Before CV, before 2019, or after. Thank you, AK Forever, My Heart, Tharts and Tharts? Oh my gosh, I think I just created an awesome word. Tharts. They're like thought darts or thought farts. Either way, I just created it. And it's on record on YouTube. Thank you guys. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a chartro. A chartro? A thoughtro. Oh, God. It's a sangria. A sarcophagus. Jim Carrey. Los Angeles. It's a shoutro.
Watch a blackbird fly, watch it fly right by. Watch a blackbird fly, watch a blackbird fly, watch a blackbird fly, watch it fly right by, fly right by, fly by, 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 by. Fly, watch a blackbird